everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, this is going to be my second to last episode this year, and today, I want to talk about a special and a famous reindeer who guides Santa's team with his wonderful red nose. That's right, I'm talking about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Created by Robert Louis May, Rudolph is described as the ninth and the youngest of Santa Claus's reindeer team, using his luminous red nose to lead the reindeer team and guide Santa's sleigh on Christmas Eve. Though he initially receives ridicule for his nose as a fawn, the brightness of his nose is so powerful that it illuminates the team's path through harsh winter weather. Ronald D. Langford Jr. described Rudolph's story as the fantasy story made to order for American children. Each child has the need to express and receive approval for his or her individuality and or special qualities. Rudolph's story embodies the American dream for the child written large because of the cultural significance of Christmas, which I find is very relatable for children who have been outcasts, like I've been. Now, aside from the classical 1949 Johnny Marks song, when folks think of Rudolph, they mostly think of the 1948 animated short movie by Mark Fleischer or the 1964 Rankin Bass special. But for this episode, we're going to go over an animated movie from the late 90s, which to me is a childhood classic. So, released on October 16th, 1998, the movie is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the movie. Now, let's get started. Rudolph is born with a shiny red nose, but the other reindeer and elves ridicule him, even at school, except for a beautiful doe named Zoe. After getting disqualified and banned from the reindeer games, Rudolph runs away from home and meets an Arctic fox named Slyly and a polar bear named Leonard. However, the evil ice witch named Stormella has captured Zoe and conjures up a powerful winter storm to put Santa Claus out of business. So, it's up to Rudolph and his new friends to rescue Zoe and save Christmas. So, what do I personally think of this movie? Well, despite a few flaws, like a couple mean-spirited moments, it still remains a childhood favorite of mine, and I think there are several parts that improve over the Rankin Bass special. But to further explain why, let's move on to Mustang notes. The movie was distributed by Legacy Releasing, who did have a hand in movies like Santa with Muscles, The Swan Princess 2, Secret of the Castle, the Shiloh movies, Pippi Longstocking from 1997, and The Mighty Kong. But aside from Legacy, this was the first theatrical movie from GoodTimes Entertainment, known for a few home video films from Burbank, Golden Films, and Jetlag. And they also produced Dinotopia, Quest for the Ruby Sunstone. Now, what are my thoughts on the animation? Well, in my opinion, for late 90s hand-drawn animation, it looks pretty charming and family-friendly. And I think Santa's village looks pretty nice too, with it being inhabited by elves and reindeer. Though, at the same time, it kind of makes me think back to when I visited Santa's village up in the mountains of Big Bear, California, when I was still very little. Also, I like the looks of the wintry wilderness, and I think the snowstorm nearing the end of the movie is pretty intense. Also, I find it clever that the reindeer games in this movie is a competition, and to me, it feels reminiscent to the Greek Olympic Games. However, the only parts that I didn't like in this movie are when Rudolph gets ridiculed, laughed at, and teased during the reindeer school. But what's even worse is that after Rudolph wins the sleigh race event during the reindeer games, he gets unfairly disqualified for a illegal use of his nose, despite the fact that Rudolph is the only reindeer with a glowing nose. Sheesh, that's not only unfairly cruel, but it's also bullshark. If anything, Orro should be the one getting disqualified, not Rudolph. And now let's talk about the movie's song numbers. First, there's What About His Nose, which I kind of have mixed feelings for. Yes, it's nice that Blitzen and Mitzi praise their son for how he is, and I like that they look forward to Rudolph's future, but I don't like when the villagers comment and ridicule Rudolph's nose. Next is Christmas Town, performed by the Pointer Sisters, while Rudolph and his parents take a tour of Santa's toy factory. To me, this is a nice song due to it showing Santa's elves making toys for all the world's children. And I like how it shows how they organize their inventory. Plus, I thought it was sweet when one of the elves gives Rudolph a teddy bear. Next is Santa's Family, sung by Santa Claus himself. To me, this song is one of my favorites, due to this being one of Santa's best and touching moments. And I like that during the song, Santa tells Rudolph that he treats everybody in his village like family, which makes this version of Santa better than the 1964 Rankin Bass Santa. Next we come to Wonderful Christmas Time, performed by former Beatle Paul McCartney, which plays while Rudolph and the villagers watch Santa's Christmas Eve launch. To me, this is a classical Christmas song. However, throughout the song, Rudolph has a hard time getting a good view, but my favorite moment is when we see a choir of caroling elves and reindeer yearlings. Also, I like when Santa's reindeer team do a roll call before they take off. Next we have Show Me the Light, which is a romantic duet sung by Rudolph and Zoe. In my eyes, this song is absolutely beautiful and touching, and it deeply shows the romantic connection that Rudolph and Zoe share with each other. Also to note, this song is sung 3 times. The first time is sung after Rudolph runs away from home. The second time is sung by Zoe while she's locked up in Stormella's ice dungeon. The third time is sung during the end credits by Bill Medley and Jennifer Warnes. Our next song is It Could Always Be Worse, sung by Rudolph's new friend Slyly after he lets Rudolph stay with him in his cave. To me, this is another great song to listen to, and it kind of feels reminiscent to Hakuna Matata from The Lion King. However, what's weird is that throughout the song, Slyly is joined by a group of female Arctic foxes who come out of nowhere, and they're not seen again afterwards. So, while the song is good and all, these vixens are
a big delicate moment.
Next is the villain song, which is titled I Hate Santa Claus, sung by the evil Stormella before conjuring up a huge snowstorm. In my eyes, this song is very menacing, and according to the extended soundtrack version, the reason why Stormella hates Santa Claus is because Santa takes all the credit for the snow that she creates, and he steals all of her thunder. Next is We Can Make It, performed by Johnny Tilliston, Tommy Rowe, and Brian Hyland. This song is heard when Rudolph guides Santa Claus and his reindeer team through Stormella's storm on Christmas Eve. Now, this would have to be my absolute favorite song in the whole movie. I'm serious, folks. This song is just awesome, because I think it makes an epic song for Rudolph's first Christmas Eve flight, and this is the kind of song that everybody should listen to during the COVID epidemic. Finally, there's the title song, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which is sung during the opening and end credits by Clint Black, and at the end of the movie by the whole cast. In my eyes, while I do like the version sung by the whole cast, I think Clint Black's cover is the best, due to it being a mix of country, jazz, and Broadway. And now, let's move on to the characters and the voice actors who brought him to life. First up is our main character, Rudolph, voiced by Kathleen Barr. Best known as the great and powerful Trixie and Queen Chrysalis in My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. And she later voiced Rudolph in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys. Now, ever since my childhood, like Dumbo and Nestor the Long-Eared Christmas Donkey, I always thought of Rudolph as a sympathetic and a relatable character, since I too was an outcast when I was young, and I still kinda am. You see, people used to ridicule me for my last name, my autism, my Asperger's syndrome, my hobbies, my goals, even for my lingo. But aside from that, I think Rudolph is a kind, noble, and generous reindeer, and I think he has a huge potential to be a brave reindeer with character and a true heart, just like the rest of Santa's team. Also, I think Rudolph's nose is very special, due to it having the ability to light the way through fierce blizzards. Next we have Rudolph's parents, Blitzen, voiced by Gary Chalk, and Mitzi, voiced by the late Debbie Reynolds, who also voices Mrs. Claus and the reindeer teacher, Mrs. Prancer. Unlike in the Rankin Bass special, where they try to hide Rudolph's nose with dirt or a fake black nose, in my eyes, Mitzi and Blitzen are more accepting towards their son being born with a glowing red nose. And to be honest, I really like that, because every parent should accept their children for how they are, even if they are born different. I also like the part where Blitzen says that he'll lock antlers with the next buck who makes a crack about his son's nose, as well as the part where Blitzen tries to convince the elf referee that it wasn't Rudolph's fault, stating that his nose was an accident, meaning that Rudolph couldn't have controlled his nose's glow during the race. But despite that, Rudolph takes it the wrong way. Next up is the man in red himself, Santa Claus, voiced by the lovable John Goodman. Now, I'm with Isaac the Media Hunter here, because I agree that John Goodman's Santa is better than Rankin Bass Santa. Well, except for the time when he was Santa in this piece of holiday coal. But that's beside the point. Anyway, the reason why I believe he's better than the Rankin Bass Santa is because he does not ridicule Rudolph for his red nose, and he treats him with kindness. Also, the scene where Santa talks to Rudolph after he was being laughed at during school was very touching. And I liked when Santa asks Rudolph to guide his team on Christmas Eve. However, the only flaw with Santa is that during the reindeer games, only the judge, not Santa or his wife, had the final decisions. If anything, I think Santa should have a say during the games, since he is in charge of the whole village. Next we come to Rudolph's love interest, Zoe, voiced by Miriam Sarois. best known as Akane from Ranma 1/2. Now, for those who don't follow me, Zoe is one of my top 10 cartoon crushes. And in my eyes, Zoe is such a beautiful doe, just like Feline in the Bambi movies. And I like that, like Clarice, Zoe likes Rudolph for his uniqueness. Plus, I also like the part where she gave Rudolph her pendant for luck. And I also liked when she admitted her feelings for Rudolph by saying that he means everything to her. Also, while I did like that she was eager to find Rudolph after he ran away, I didn't think it was very smart of her to cross Stormella's bridge, which was closed to the public. Next we come to Rudolph's jerkish cousin, Orro, voiced by Matt Hill, who's best known as the rock-stupid Ed from Ed, Edd and Eddy. To me, this guy is an absolute jerk, not only for being a bully to Rudolph, but also for ruining Rudolph and Zoe's attempted mistletoe kiss and cheating during the sleigh race by crashing into the other racers. Plus, Orro pissed Rudolph off by saying that Zoe's only nice to him because she feels sorry for him, which makes Rudolph's nose light up in anger. But, in the end, I'm glad that Zoe dumped Orro, since he doesn't have what it takes to be a flyer as Rudolph does. These are Boone and Doggle, voiced by Richard Simmons and Alec Willows. To me, these guys don't have too many scenes, but they are responsible for a certain plot point. Mostly, these guys pick up mail for Santa Claus, and they hope to be promoted to the toy factory ground. However, one day, while crossing Stormella's ice bridge, their snowmobile somehow malfunctions and they accidentally crash into her ice garden. The consequence being that her bridge becomes closed off to the public. But 2 years later, after Rudolph and Zoe are missing, Santa hires Boone and Doggle as a search party to find them and bring them back to the village. Next we come to one of Rudolph's new friends, Slyly, an Arctic fox voiced by former Monty Pythonite Eric Idle. In my eyes, Slyly is one of my favorite supporting characters in this movie, mainly due to his toughness and his optimistic and clever personality. Plus, I think Eric Idle's Bronx accent is kind of cool in my opinion. And I think the part where he sleeps with Rudolph's teddy bear is pretty cute. Also, I like when Slyly plays a hero role by sneaking past Stormella's snow wolves and removing the dungeon key from around her neck while she's sleeping. Rudolph's second new friend is Leonard, a polar bear voiced by Bob Newhart, who got to voice Bernard in the Rescuers movies, and he also got to be a fatherly elf in a Christmas movie that I really despise with a vengeance. Anyway, I think Leonard is another likable character, due to the fact that he was hospitable to Rudolph and Slyly when they needed a place to stay. And I also liked when Leonard accompanies Rudolph on his rescue mission to save Zoe from Stormella's castle. Also, I thought it was nice that Rudolph gave Leonard a scarf for Christmas. Our next character is the evil ice witch, Stormella, voiced by Whoopi Goldberg. Best known from the Lion King trilogy, The Pagemaster, The Extinct Golden Dreams from Disney California Adventure, and Racing Stripes. In my eyes, Stormella is a spiteful character, and I think Whoopi Goldberg's performance has a few sarcastic moments. But, as I said earlier, the reason why she hates Santa is because he takes all the credit for the snow that she creates. And during the movie, after Boondoggle accidentally crashed into her garden, she warns Santa that her ice bridge is closed off to the public, and she also threatens that if anyone ever dares to cross her bridge, she'll conjure up a huge snowstorm in hopes to put Santa Claus out of business for good. But in the end, I'm glad that Stormella gains a change of heart after Rudolph saved her from falling off a cliff, since, like Santa says, everyone deserves a second chance. And I liked when Santa gave her an ice sculpture of herself for Christmas. Finally, we come to our narrators, the sprites of the Northern Lights. They are Aurora, voiced by Elizabeth Carroll Savinkoff, Sparkle, voiced by Spike the Dragon herself, Kathy Westluck, Glitter, also voiced by Miriam Sorois, and Twinkle, also voiced by Kathleen Barr. To me, they're kind of similar to the Muses from Hercules. However, unlike them, the sprites serve a minor role in the story. Mostly, they narrate the movie in song, and they watch over Rudolph. But in one scene, they witness Zoe getting captured by Stormella after she crossed her bridge, and later, they inform Rudolph of Zoe's said capture, and that only he can save her with his light. You know, I like that they're admirers of Rudolph's nose, and I also like that they teach him how to use his nose properly by using the power of love. And now for my final words. Overall, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer the movie, despite a few minor flaws, is still a childhood favorite of mine during the Christmas season. And I still say it's a major improvement over the Rankin Bass special. The animation is nice, the songs are great to listen to, the story is heartwarming, the main character Rudolph is brave and noble, Zoe is a sweet and beautiful doe, and I think she and Rudolph make a nice couple together. The supporting characters, Slyly and Leonard, are fun and memorable, and the villain Stormella, despite a mixed motive for being evil, is also memorable, and I like that she becomes nice in the end. So, with all that said, this movie is an underrated animated Christmas movie that deserves more recognition, and I think everybody, young or old, should watch it. As for my rating, well, since it's Christmas, I'll be generous and give it a 98% out of 100. So there were two scenes that were mean-spirited. So what? Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me for my Season 8 finale, where I look at a 2006 movie which tells a 2,000-year-old story of the greatest Christmas present ever born. Mustang Power.